Alright. God, Brinko boss so bad tonight.
Wait. Brinko Burr.
Yeah.
Haven't even smoked yet and I'm coughing my lungs out.
Mood.
Yeah. Here we go. Whew. Get that inhaler life.
You're roboting again?
Oh, god damn it. I don't know why. I don't know what it's doing. What's causing it.
I don't know if it's you or me.
I guess I'm just part robot for today. That's fine. We've got robot alters in here.
Fair enough. Alright, brain is really go blah.
I feel that.
Ah! I pulled it up on the wrong screen. Why are you like this?
Lungs go burr. Well, let me also...
Okay. Okay. Eventually I'll set up bots and stuff for the YouTube chat.
That'd be good, but... Well... Who needs to think? Who needs thoughts?
I felt
Who needs a brain? Pretty sure brains are a myth.
Sounded like you said brains
What do you
are
mean?
meth.
I mean, some are.
Did you outsit our server?
Yeah.
Swag.
I'm so used to having to dive off camera for TikTok lives that I just instinctively. It's doing the intro this time.
It's an even number. It's you.
All right, swaggy. Well,
how are y'all doing, party people?
how's everybody doing tonight?
Holy shit, Olivia Newton-John died.
I don't know who that is.
Sandy from Grease. You've never seen Grease.
I've never seen it. I'm so sorry.
I'm offended. What else has Olivia Newton-John played in? I need her IMDb, please. I don't want all the articles about her death. I want her IMDb, please.
I hope you're all having a good day. Let's go in.
Have you seen Face Off?
Day. No.
Wine Country? I don't know what that is.
No.
She was on The Simpsons. Stranger Things. Despicable Me 3.
Haven't seen that one. Seen the first two.
Pretty Little Liars. Several seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race for some reason. Probably as a guest judge.
Probably.
I know she was on Glee for like an episode. Big Bang Theory for an episode. Femme Fatales. Or Femme Fatales. Yeah, there's Glee. Lost.
I feel like, okay, I've just Googled her. I feel like I've seen her face, but that's about as far as it goes.
Monster House, you've probably seen. Like that animated
I've
movie.
seen Monster House.
Yeah, she was in... Who was she in Monster House? Who was she in Monster House? I don't want the IMDb app right now. Please leave me alone.
Her fun little... Whoa, Rango Burr.
Oh, Steve Buscemi was in Monster House. Why didn't I know that?
That makes sense, though, I feel like.
It does. Okay, why did it say she was in Monster House when it doesn't list her in the cast?
Who knows?
Nani the fuck IMDb. Hello, hope you're all having a good day too, Wolfpack System. How are y'all doing? This is just a little chatting part before the podcast actually starts. We're both Bringo Bois right now. We're both fucking dissociated as hell. Like me to the point of I don't know why we're doing this tonight.
You'd think that, I wouldn't be so fucking dissociated since I've been front step for the past 3 days, but...
Right.
Brain just decides to go burr, but no, it's not burr, just burr.
Okay. Let's see if I can hold the front. I mean, we're talking about non-traditional system rules, so, hopefully I'll hold the front, if not.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfie, I was trying to say we'll fucking see, and I said Wolfie. Wolfie.
When do we want to get started or whatever?
It's up to you. You're the one doing the intro. Yeah, we have like 400 people in here, so we felt that. Like in each system. They're like, they're at like what'd you say, 70?
It's like 380 last I checked.
380. We're at like 400 something. I don't fucking know.
I'm sure it'll be 400 soon because I know there's still like a whole line of angels waiting to introduce themselves to the front.
Mm-hmm. You might want to actually restart Discord before you start the podcast because you're really robot-y.
Alright, I'll go ahead and do that then. So
okay, I'll just chat with chat.
BRB, technical difficulties.
Alright, they'll be back in a minute. Because they sound like a robot. And it's fine. Everything's fine. God, Bringo fucking blah. Blah. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in the front for the podcast, but I'll try. We've been really switchy all day because we went grocery shopping and it was like a really, really big grocery order. And it made us like almost pass out bringing the groceries inside. And so, like, oh well. Let's see if that's
Hopefully
better.
This helps.
I don't know. It might be my internet. Who fucking knows? No, because it's still doing it.
Okay, wait. Great. We gotta love it. So I'm just part robot tonight.
It's fine. It's the podcast. It's so fun.
We're a professional, high quality, high grade podcast, obviously.
We're a professional. It's so fun. It's so funny.
It's so much fun.
I'm trying to see if I can stay in the front.
Right.
But it's fine. You can do the intro whenever. It's up to you.
Alright. I can fucking
It's
think.
24.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DIDIOTS podcast. What?
I probably shouldn't have had you do the intro.
Which number are we on?
24.
Woo!
When we're talking about non-traditional system roles. Woo! So it's a fun time. So some systems have roles that don't fit the categories that people say that exist.
Right. Because the thing about system role categories is that every system functions completely differently. Because every system is different. So every system is gonna have, like, it's not uncommon for a system to have unique roles to their system.
Right, and because DID is created by the experiences that are traumatic, so, and everyone's trauma is going to be different, so everyone's reaction to that trauma is going to be different, etc., etc. So, like, for me, I'm a system organizer, and, like, that's a more common non-traditional role as a system organizer, but we also have a scribe. She, like, writes stories and takes notes for council meetings and things like that. I'm trying to think, like, we have a shell altar. Those are not as common. Like, shells are basically, like, that people front through them. And we have him, he, like, sits under the front room and controls everything. And so, like, if the body's completely dissociated, we can still move. It's because he's in the body. Because technically there's never no one in the front because the shell is always up here.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, like, actively take control very often unless no one is up here. and it's not a very
fun
experience.
And he always gets very angry every time he gets up in the front.
He gets very upset every time he's in the front. He's like, okay, someone else.
You always know it's him fronting, because every time he comes to the front, he goes, God damn it, not again.
Just, I'm not supposed to be here. So yeah, I'm actually going to look through our singleton category on Simply Plural. Okay. And just like...
No, we've also got like... We have some alters who have roles who don't have like... The roles don't necessarily have names yet. Like we have one alter who... What he does is he's the... He's quite literally the black mist that separates our front room from our observation.
Yeah.
And so he...
Yeah, that's like a more complicated one to
cover
define.
Alters. Yeah, and so...
Yeah, that one's a more complicated one to define.
The mist guy.
We have a couple like worker alters. We classify them as kind of like NPCs. But they're not like actual like NPCs. They just classify themselves as such. Because they like say the same 5 lines because they're working, but they're capable of saying more. But they classify themselves as NPCs because that's what they feel like. We have 2 jukeboxes that just play music throughout the headspace. And we have the shell. One alter, her role is quite literally gossip. And I don't know why. It's specifically family gossip. So, like, if something's going on in our family and, like, we have to talk about it, like, with our, like, if we were to talk about it, like, with our family or whatever, and, like, something's going on in the family and we're just, like, getting pissed off or whatever, it's Audrey. Yeah. We have, okay, so someone in chat said we have system members who control the seasons in the inner world. I don't know if any other systems have that. Yeah, we don't have that. We don't really have seasons in the inner world, I don't believe. Everything is looking like it's like spring, summer all the time.
Everything looks, I think in the inner world, the aesthetics are summer, the actual weather is fall.
Yeah, same.
Because heat intolerant bitches.
Same. Yeah, we don't and then we have a alter who drives specifically when we're dissociated. Like if we're like really dissociated and like our head is like starting to drop and stuff, she will front so we can drive safely. And that's like our singleton roles. Like we have the driver, the scribe, some system organizers and like stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, and then
that's it. That's the podcast.
I know we've got I mean, I know the main role that we have that most people are like, what do you mean by that? Is backup host, which for us is just because we have our host, which is Tia, we have our co-host, which is Vex. And then we have a bunch of backup hosts.
We also have backup hosts. It is
just kind of
fill in for the host when they're not there.
Fill in for when the host isn't doing stuff.
Yeah.
We also have, of course, the alter who we just describe her as the one who does the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's who we. That's what Erin is, like our worker alter. She's our NPC.
We love and appreciate Edna. She's a BAMF, and she has had to. We've put her through some bullshit recently.
Yeah. Yes, you have. May I tell the story?
Yes.
So they're dumbasses. Decided to put their dab reclaim in a pot pie before work. And so they were
twice
stoned at work. A lot. And Edna had to deal with that.
Edna had to deal with it, and you know what? She's the greatest at it. She could, literally every time we had to do anything. I'm so glad we have a job where most of our job is downtime.
Same.
But every time we had to do something, Edna would take the front, and she'd do it perfectly, and then she'd immediately leave because she didn't want to deal with being high.
That's so funny. It's really funny.
We have one alter who's apparently it seems like her role is to be the one to be impulsive and try drugs.
Oh, yeah. We have, well...
as well as...
We have a couple, like, confidence holders.
She's really good at keeping us from having a bad trip.
We have a broadcaster who runs, like, a news station in the inner world. It's also ironic because it's Alistair from Aspen Hotel. That's great. That's awesome. We have, like, some non-traditional, like, subcategories because it's not their main role, but it's, like, their secondary role. So, like, confidence holders and like, symptom holders. People don't really talk about those that often because they get fake claimed a lot. But they are very real.
Very much real.
And it's like everyone in the system has it, but some people just have it worse.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you have something like autism or something that affects how the brain is literally wired and
like autism, Tourette's, ADHD, like those neurodevelopmental things.
Yeah, that's gonna affect every alter, but just like it affects every person like individually differently, it's also gonna affect every alter differently.
Right, and it's like the same thing of like we have different med reactions, we have different food reactions, we have different allergies, things like that. It just makes sense that we're going to have different reactions to what we have versus like, because if we can have different allergies, why doesn't it make sense for a symptom holder to exist? And different allergies is proven scientifically. Like, why wouldn't a symptom holder exist? And they literally have said in some media, not in some media, in some articles and stuff, they're like, oh, the obsessive compulsive part, the depressed part, the suicidal part. They specify those, but they phrased it to where it's like only that alter has that condition, but that it's everyone has that condition, but they're a symptom holder for it.
Yeah.
And that is in articles and stuff. So it's like, why doesn't it make sense for a symptom holder to exist? And things like that.
I think the reality is that people just like to fake claim this disorder.
Yeah. For
literally any reason, even if it's stuff that's been researched, that's been proven that this does happen, that no, you're faking it actually.
Right. People just hate people with DID. They just hate us, and it is what it is, I guess. But like, hell, I've seen, and like, I feel like a non-traditional system role would honestly be the council too, is because not
every system is going to have like a council.
Right. Not every system is going to have a council. We elected the council ourselves. Because when you have a large group of people in a confined area, you're going to elect a group of representatives. And so it's like that's like their secondary role though, is like that they're on the council. But it's, sorry, I'm trying to hold the front. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. And like, I feel like trauma holder is one people don't talk about a lot either. But it's very common.
It's extremely common.
It's extremely common to have a trauma holder, but it's just one people don't talk about. And I just don't get it. God, Brango blah.
Drink. Twitch redeemed, drink the water.
But it's just like, again, like every system's gonna be different. They're going to have their individual role. Like, there are probably some that we're not thinking of that some systems have.
Yeah, because there's, again, with every system is going to be different and going to function differently, and there can be commonalities between systems. Like, again, a lot of systems have protectors, caretakers, hosts, co-hosts, stuff like that.
Yeah, like persecutors, like things like that. Yeah, those are the really common system roles. But it's not going to be, even within those roles, what that means for that system is completely different.
Yeah.
Because misguided protector is one for us. Because people are trying to call persecutors misguided protectors, but we have a separate definition. Because for us, misguided protectors are the name, misguided protectors. While persecutors are actively still trying to harm the system, while misguided protectors are not. And persecutors who are still defined as persecutors in our system, even though people don't like that term, is because they're actively trying to harm the system intentionally, things like that. They are doing it of their own volition. They want to do harm to the system and things like that. So it makes sense. Avenger is one that we don't really know about, but...
Speaking as, like, a persecutor, I really don't understand people who would have an issue with the term persecutor, because, like, yeah, that describes what I do.
Right.
It's, like...
It seems like the people who don't like the term persecutor are the ones with persecutors who are reforming and don't have any active persecutors left.
Yeah, it's like, here's the thing, persecutor is still a part of this. Like, persecutors are still part of the system. Oh my god, that just reminds me that there's this a role that I've heard of before called like Melicitor or something like that. Where it's described like you describe persecutor, someone who's like actively against the system. Though I've also heard that being I think honestly actually a lot of where like the hate from for the term persecutor and like the evil alters come from is endogenics who think that it's okay to demonize and punish and persecute back the persecutors.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's not going to help anything. That's just going to make us more of a bitch. Like, anyway.
The only thing that I've seen effective against persecutors who are still against the system is littles. Because then they're like, oh, I don't want to hurt a child, so why would I hurt the rest of the system? And that's the only thing that made, I think his name was like Zachariah or something. That's the only thing that made him like question what he did, was because the little was in the front. And he saw that it was a child and he was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. We've literally had a persecutor come to the front before. We could tell that he was supposed to be a persecutor. And then he pretty much immediately just went, wait, but you guys are actually all being nice to me? I don't think I want to be mean anymore. That actually kind of sounds pretty horrible. I want to be a good person now.
Yeah, and that it's... And, like, caretakers and stuff, like, help with that, too. And, like, we've had some caretakers, like, get through to some persecutors and things like that. But like we still have some that are like actively working against the system. We don't know what to do about them. This is just a whole thing at this point. But it just is what it is. And it's like we know how to manage them. We know how to handle the thoughts that come up when they put them in our head and things like that. And one of our persecutors who's on the council, he's like taking on a lot of responsibility and like doing things to work with the system and trying to get the other persecutors to work with the system and things like that. Because their job isn't inherently bad. Because sometimes you need someone to kick you in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. It's the optimum tension.
Yeah, the thing about every role in a system is necessary for one reason. What either is or was necessary for one reason or another.
Right.
If a persecutor is doing something, there's probably a reason behind it.
Oh yeah, little persecutors are absolutely a thing. We have like teens who are persecutors, littles who are protectors, like shit like that. It's absolutely a thing.
Little who's a gatekeeper who also no, she insists she's not a little. She looks like a little. She acts like a little, but she insists that she's not actually a little.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Isn't she like some like ageless being that looks like a child?
Yeah.
You're a child. I've told her this to her face.
We're all just like, that's a baby.
I've told her this to her face. I'm like, you are a child. But it's like Avengers are another one. I don't really know a lot about them. I don't have any. Isn't it like someone who is like really against the abuser and like tries to like go after the abuser in like a kind of violent way, but not necessarily violent, but like
so.
Not necessarily violent, but their intent is towards like getting revenge and things like that.
Yeah, I think so.
If I'm wrong, please tell me. Like people in chat. But that's my understanding of it. We don't have anyone like that. We just, because we were never the fight person. We were never the fight back person. Same. We were the freeze or run. And mostly freeze. Or the fawn reaction, which is basically just okay, until they shut up. And I taught myself the fawn reaction because I learned that just saying okay and making him shut up was just the easiest thing to do. Because freezing was not effective.
We would just cry. I'm pretty sure
most of the time. Fair. I would also cry. That is completely fair. I felt that. But it's like, I'm trying to think of just like some other like odd system roles.
I know that there's some systems who have things like an alter whose job it is to eat.
Yes, we actually have that. Her name is Sasha. She's actually an interject of Sasha from Attack on Titan. She is nothing like her source. Our brain saw a character who ate a lot and sucked her in and now she fronts when we don't eat to force us to eat. And she's pissed all the time. She looks like Sasha. She sounds like Sasha. She is not Sasha. She does not associate with her source in any way, shape, or form.
This is why it's important for people to realize that interjects are not their source.
Precisely. There are some that heavily identify with source, some that don't.
To their source.
Yeah. There's some of our interjects heavily identify with source. Eloise. Some of all of the Sanders sides. Some interjects heavily identify with their source. Some are just like, I'm not gonna watch that at all, ever. Mood boosters, yeah. Absolutely. I don't think we have, like, we deem those emotional protectors in our system, but we do have a couple mood boosters. Like, they're always happy, they're always bubbly. When they don't feel happy, it's like something's wrong. Like Fried or Chaos before they fused. And, yeah, Fried and Chaos fused again, by the way. It's just them, not Arson with them this time. And, like, our soothers. Yeah, because Fried keeps trying to pop loose, the bastard. We have an altar whose job it is to force fusions. We have an altar whose job it is to break fusions. That is creation and destruction. That is 2 of our gatekeepers. And, like, so creation forces the fusions, if possible. And, because some forces don't work anyway. But he basically just puts the altars in the fusion pit, puts a freaking band around them, and hopes it works. And then, if we have something big happen that we need a big fusion broken, that's where destruction came in and broke Korra. And then we have like, obviously we have like the artists. We have like the subcategories, the artists, the singers, the writers. But it's not like their main system role is to do art or to sing or to write.
Role it is to RP.
That's a fucking mood. That's a goddamn mood.
Because every time we get we RP, we split that person as effective. So it's like, what's your role? RP? Okay.
Fair enough. Trying to think of like some others. We have an altar whose role it is. She's like, we deem her a caretaker, but basically she only fronts to shower. That's it. She turns on her playlist and gets in the shower. That's it. That's the tweet. We appreciate her.
Someone just went, this is the Scrub-a-Dub-Dub playlist.
We have a bodyguard who protects people outside of the system. We aren't talking too much in chat. I hope we aren't talking too much in chat. Oh no, please, talk all you want in chat. Please do. We love it.
We love chat. We love people coming and watching us live. Thank you.
Yeah, so a bodyguard who protects people outside the system. That completely makes sense. Especially if your trauma involved, like, multiple people receiving the same trauma. Like, if you're, like, an older sibling or something. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the youngest sibling, so, like, we don't have that. Like, our siblings, if our siblings had DID, they probably could.
We have an altar whose job it was to soothe our ex. Like, specifically, if he was having a hard time, it would be to come out and help him calm down.
We have a couple people who do that. Mostly Kari will come out. She knows how to de-escalate situations really well. So, like, if someone's going through something, it's usually Kari. She's honestly the most empathetic out of all of us. But she's just a caretaker, as we deem her, because she is for, like, the whole system. Really, she does that for everybody.
But yeah, that was one of the things that we had noted, that T had noticed before really finding the system, is that occasionally there would be like this switch that would go off in her, where sometimes she'd be able to just stop having a breakdown in the middle of having a breakdown and act totally calm and like nothing was going on. And it's like, wow, I wonder what that could have been, huh?
Dissociation, baby. Yeah, but it's just like, it's just weird.
And there are also some systems who may have a role, an altar called a core, and that's not going to be true for every system.
Right.
There's, like, for our system, we technically, I guess, would associate like 5 different altars as the core, the ones who have been here the longest.
Right. As for, like, the core, like, we associate one person as the core, but usually when you think of core, you think of, like, someone who is like still around and is still doing their role that they were doing before. And she's not. She is not the host anymore. She's not like doing her job actively anymore, and that's fine. She went dormant, and someone else took over, and that's just been the life since. But it's like not every system is going to have one, and core theory makes sense to an extent, but with structured dissociation, it kind of doesn't at the same time.
Yeah.
It's annoying to see others fake claiming systems for having unique roles. Absolutely. We have a messenger who sends messages to others in the inner world. That's actually so fucking useful. That is so fucking useful. Because we can't communicate worth shit. We leave post-it notes and shit around and hope they get it. Because, yeah, it's so fun. But, oh god, bring up wall.
But yeah, the thing is, again, every system is going to be different. It's very common for systems to have unique system roles.
Oh, spiritual protector is another.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We have one spiritual protector. One. Out of 400 something.
We have a couple altars who do it, but we have a couple altars whose role it is to read tarot cards.
Yeah, we have our resident witchy bitch. We just deem her we deem her an emotional protector, but her like main role is like witchy bitch. Yeah. So she'll come out, do cards, do boards, do runes, do whatever. Messengers can go to the other realms in the inner world, or parts of the inner world the rest of us the rest of us can't, or yeah, I think that's what you meant. Yeah, like that absolutely makes sense. We have a couple gatekeepers that are strictly librarians, that stay in the library for the memories. They're like memory keepers. But they're gatekeepers, so it's a weird thing. What does a spiritual protector do? Okay, so a spiritual protector, at least in our system, her name is Poppy. She's also an emotional protector. She has been around since we were... Hold on, she's not talking to me. At least 10. If not younger. And she just came out of dormancy after like 10 years. She's more like, we have like, I don't know how to describe this without sounding more bonkers than I already am. But because we do cards and boards and stuff, we do blessings and project like white light to like protect the house and things like that. When we normally project white light, it takes us forever. She can do it almost instantaneously.
Damn.
And the first time she did it, we were flabbergasted. It's like she is like more in tune with our abilities and things like that. And it was so weird when she did that the first time. It was so weird. It was because what happens is like, especially for going to bed and feeling anxious, we'll cast a white protection light on the house. And it was happening that night, and she had just come back, and she said, okay, I'll do it. And it was within a minute that it was done, instead of like 2 or 3. If not 5. So everyone's spiritual protectors are going to be different. Everyone's going to have a different definition for spiritual protector specifically.
Yeah, like, I think for
because
us,
that one's really convoluted and complicated.
Yeah, I think for us, especially like growing up Mormon, and part of the reason why we were so devout into the religion and why we like believed it so strongly is because we had altars whose role it was to act as like the Holy Ghost. And to, you know, steer us away from like wrong decisions and
so to try and be your morality.
Really, yeah, basically.
And
no wonder there's so many Mormon systems, because they're told the Holy Ghost is their altars is just the Holy Ghost.
Mood. But we had an altar that she was like, we didn't know how to like take her. She was the only altar that identified with a religion. And of course it was the religion we grew up.
Yeah.
Which is Mormon. And so she would front, her job before she fused was to front when the missionaries came over. And tell them what they wanted to hear. Besides that, she wouldn't really front. And now she's fused, so...
Nowadays, all our Mormon altars are pissed at the church, so...
She was the only one. And hilariously, was an interject of our oldest sister. Who is not a member of the church anymore. But yeah, shit is super weird.
Yeah. Brains are weird and dumb, and they do stupid things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
That's the real takeaway of the night, I feel like.
And like,
is that a brand will just do what it needs, is the thing. An altar can have any role that the system needs.
Yeah. We have an altar who only fronts when we are inebriated. Because he likes being inebriated. I don't know what his role is besides that.
And like we have Junko, who just likes to make sure that we're having a good time if we're doing drugs.
Fair enough. And the funniest thing is his name is Kush. He literally named himself after weed.
Junko so is literally just junkie, but with O instead of a Y.
Fair enough. I think junkie's IE anyway.
Yeah.
But same difference.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, shit's super weird. Like, every system's gonna be different. Every altar's gonna be different. We have an altar who's a goddamn vegetarian, and do we look like a vegetarian to you? Do we look like a goddamn vegetarian to you? I eat chicken. A lot. So much goddamn chicken nuggets.
So much chicken. Chicken is good.
Chicken is good.
I could never be vegetarian.
And she just fronts for the first time and is like, I will not eat dairy, and I'm a vegetarian. And I'm like, okay. We have mashed potatoes. She said, I'll take it. She said, I'll take it. And she ate mashed potatoes for like 2 days.
I will eat the mashed potatoes.
She ate mashed potatoes for like 2 days, and then we got her to eat some chicken noodle soup, but it didn't have the chicken bits in it. It was just the chicken broth. And so she accepted the broth, and she was just mad as fuck about it. But she was like, it still tastes gross, but I'll eat it. And I'm like, why are you a goddamn vegetarian?
It's like, why are you like this?
Like, why are you fucking like this? I don't know why she's like this. That is what it is. It's okay. Our dinner was mashed potatoes. Not because of her, because of someone else who, for some reason, everything he looked at was disgusting.
That's fair.
And so he ate mashed potatoes.
Sometimes it just be like that.
Just, oh, yes. He fronted for the first time and was, like, looking around. He's like, oh, yes, my job is food aversion, I guess.
My job is to not eat, I guess. Okay.
That's fun. Thanks, brain. We literally, like, one of our emotional protectors' job is literally to stream. like, that's his job. He likes to stream, so he streams and does that for us. That's fried. And
yeah, we have 2 alters. They're literally named themselves Live and Stream.
Yeah.
And they like to be on lives. They like to live stream and do stuff like that.
Yeah. But,
we have 2 alters who just like to come out when we're knitting.
That's fair. Yeah, shit's just, like, super weird. It's like, when we're interacting with certain people, certain alters will front. When we're interacting with different people, different alters will front. And it's, like, it's absolutely wild. Like, every system's gonna be different. So, you know, just keep that in mind if you're new to systemhood or new to being involved with the DID community. Every system's gonna be different. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of diagnosis.
Yeah, it's not.
And that's why there are 2 symptoms in the DSM. Having alters and having amnesia. Because that's it. That's all that every system has in common besides OSCD-1B system. That's all every DID system has in common. Is multiple identity states and amnesia. And then OSCD just has the multiple identity states.
Or just has the amnesia.
We have interpreters who help with mute or nonverbal alters. Yeah, like, that absolutely makes sense. Like, a lot of our alters who are nonverbal use ASL because we learned that before system awareness. We were, like, kind of conversational in it before system awareness, and we kind of fell off and need to start learning it again. But we know some signs. We're pretty conversational still. Yeah, whiteboards, texting, things like that. That's how our nonverbal alters live.
Yeah, and also, I remember in therapy one time a non-alter, or not non-alter, non-verbal alter. A non-alter. But a non-verbal alter used a text-to-speech app to talk with a therapist.
Right. And it's just a matter of finding accommodations for them. It's just the same thing with like, physically disabled people. It's just finding accommodations for them. It's just the same thing. It's just, we just need accommodations, and that's all it is. Which we've already done an episode on, by the way, if you want to watch that. Right. Which would be a fun one to touch on again.
Oh yeah.
But it's really interesting. And like, people will make fun of like typing quirks or nonverbal alters or littles, and I'm like, why?
Just like, it's
a brain disorder. Like, it's literally, I don't want to say it's an imagination disorder, but basically as a kid you were stuck in your imagination and dissociating all the time.
Honestly, that's a pretty good way to describe it, is an imagination disorder. Because it's, again, literally being stuck inside of your imagination and dissociating to different people so that you can handle what you were going through.
Right. Like, there are reasons I wouldn't say imagination disorder, but that's a whole other thing.
Obviously. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated than that, but because a dissociative disorder says enough.
Yeah.
But, and I was actually talking with some other systems about this on Twitter the other day. What they were saying, unpopular opinion, I actually like the term multiple personality disorder. It seems to make more sense than DID. And I was like, well, they only changed it because it's not a personality disorder and they didn't want to confuse everyone else. But it's way more to the point.
Yeah.
It is way more to the point. Because if people don't know what DID is, you say multiple personality disorder and they know exactly what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
And that's why when we're on, like, TikTok lives or someone new is in our chat, we say, okay, well, we have DID, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. And then go from there. But, any final thoughts on... random question, did you ever do a podcast on non-human headmates? That's actually a good idea. We will write that down. We will absolutely write that down.
Like, our system has majority non-human. There's very few humans in this system.
We have a lot of non-human as well. It's not like an overwhelming number. It's not like more than half the system, but we have plenty of non-human in our system. We literally have like a sewn together man with 4 arms that's been in the body since we were 7. Don't know where the fuck he came from.
Goddess cluster of stars, so like
it'd be like that. It do. We have cats, we have dogs, we have a rock orc man. Yeah, we can absolutely do an episode on non-human alters. Mm-hmm. Thank you for suggesting that.
I think first, as far as like finishing thoughts, again, every system is going to be different, and every system is going to have different roles.
Yeah, not every.
And what those roles means is going to be different for every system.
Right. But besides that little tidbit, any final thoughts? Besides everyone's going to be different. Everyone's roles are going to be different. Some may have singleton roles we didn't mention.
You're valid for having different system roles. Don't
absolutely.
Let anybody tell you otherwise.
Like, some of our interjects their job is to be an interject.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is to be an interject and to identify with their source as an escape mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire point. This disorder is escapism.
Mm-hmm.
I am fully aware of that. A little too much aware of that.
I feel that.
But, yeah, so everyone's going to be different. Everyone's job is going to be different in the system. It just depends on the system and what they went through and what their body needed. But, yeah, it's just going to be different. And you have to remember that. And systems, you're valid. Endogenic systems, you're not.
Halogenic, paragenic, whatever created system, please stop.
It's okay. If you identify as endogenic and think you may have trauma, you probably do. That's all I gotta say about that. And you're just like, oh, I'm not sure if I have trauma. I might. I don't know if this counts as trauma. It probably does.
Mm-hmm.
It probably does.
Our trauma, like, a lot of people go through trauma that they'll think that, oh, this can't be bad enough to actually cause this. As far as we know, the majority of the trauma that we went through was emotional neglect.
Yep.
And that's enough.
Yep.
Being emotionally neglected as a little child is enough for a brain to be able to need to dissociate away from that.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. We will be live next week. We're trying to find some more guests to come on. Because we really want to bring on some, like, POC systems to talk about their experience and things like that. We just want to bring on some more guests here in the near future. So we're trying. It's just a matter of everyone else.
Right.
So, yeah. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great night.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
Well, you are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because we're not on Twitch anymore.
Right. So, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Fun. Gotta love it. Yeah, so have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you next week. Bye.